So I'm not allowed to say mean things anymore because we already hit record about other people.
Please
We're
say mean
we're
things.
we're all
No,
about
intrusive
Not
that.
that I have
thoughts all
anything
day
mean to
long,
say. I only
please.
say nice
Look
things.
at us, the
I mean,
OGs
just
in
don't
the
get us canceled.
house.
You guys are doing amazing.
Matchmaker.
Girl, and the OGs.
I mean, am I an
Well,
OG?
okay, Daniel
Is
is.
that my
Yeah.
imposter syndrome
Well,
speaking?
No, I mean OGs like the three of us. Daniel
Correct.
is his own OG.
No, and I'm
Yeah.
still
I'm
a little shrimp and a rookie at that. So there's
I
plenty
don't know
more
about
before all
that.
of us.
How long have you been in the fitness industry, anyways, Daniel?
In the fitness industry?
Well, yeah,
Like
like
almost 10
doing.
years. Almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So since I was 10.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends how you want to slice it up. I guess I've always been playing sports and always been part of like fitness, and it's always been a part of what I've been doing. But obviously, like as a professional, no, like 9 years, almost 10.
Well,
now.
compared
Yeah.
to Carmie and I, you're a seasoned pro. So, but we're pros in our own right. Okay.
Correct. We all
We're
have
mommy
many things to
pros,
offer. You
dang
guys
it.
have many experiences and things that you've learned through your own journeys and through your own clients and through your own lens of life that like I will never get there and I will never know those things.
Yeah.
And so that, it's not about who's better or worse or ahead or behind. It's just we all are where we are and we all have our own things to offer.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just kidding.
Preach. Oh, what's that behind? Oh,
Sorry, I had to
thought I
turn
saw
that
a
one on.
pet
It's
behind
battery
you.
operated and I always forget to do it and because then it runs out of battery. So
I
now
like
it
that.
looks more professional.
And he has to come to our homes and like set us up. You should see
I
my
know,
setup.
please.
It's so ghetto.
So after
Listen.
Vegas, just make a pit stop over to Southern California, set up my space.
I would love that. That would be cool. But listen, the first couple podcasts that I did, what number episode is this one for you guys now?
36.
36.
Yeah.
Wow,
I was like, I don't know,
flies,
we
eh?
just dropped 35 today.
Yeah.
time-
Yeah. Can you
Sam's
believe
was
that?
35.
Time flies.
Isn't it? Oh, where'd Carmie
Uh-oh,
go?
did we lose him?
Oh,
Come on, Carmie. You can do this.
I'm talking.
Oh, there you go.
I can do it. I can do
Okay.
it. I can do it. Yes,
Do
I
it.
can. Yes, I can.
Yes, yes. What happened? What happened there?
I don't know. Daniel.
Bitch.
Daniel happened.
I know. We always
Must have been me. Must have been me.
we always blame it on our guest.
You know what?
We
I've
just-
sent. I got so frustrated with Riverside. I sent probably too many mean messages to their customer support staff for not helping me at all, and maybe that's why. So maybe it is my fault.
No, for
Yeah,
whatever reason, every time we have a
bad-
guest, we have a little bit of tech issue.
Yeah,
bad juju,
And I'm not sure
man.
why.
yeah. It's who knows? I don't know. It's this platform. They added too many AI features and forgot to do the thing that like actually matters, which is just have a stable video call. And they're more focused on fancy AI features that
Oh.
I can't imagine that many people even use. That's
Well,
my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is
they're
true.
probably just adding too many tools. That makes sense. Yeah. And then it's just not able to keep up with it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Carmie,
Or
do you
there's
want to
not too many
intro
people
and
using it.
Carmie, do you want to intro and then we'll talk about how we all met.
Yes, absolutely. All right, you
Go for
guys.
it.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Breaking the Cycle, Redefining Weight Loss, Health, and Mom Life. And today we have a really special guest. We were itching to get you on because we have Mr. Daniel Yores here. And if you guys don't know, we have him to thank for this union, this match of Dal and I. So whether you're going to love it or
Yes.
hate it, it's his fault.
If you don't know, now you know.
No, it just went down in a DMs,
Yeah.
honestly, because I think what happened was, Daniel, you were both talking to both of us separately, and you reached out to me and you're like, hey, I'm going to start a group chat. There's somebody that I really think that you will resonate with and connect with. You guys seem very similar and aligned, and you did the intros. We took it about 3 sentences over and we're like, okay, bye, exit. We're good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I met Daniel, like we met at the first Evolve conference, right? And
Mhm.
I heard you on Aram's and Jim's episode, and I started following you. And then whatever,
Same.
we were just, yeah, right? And then we just
Mhm.
started DMing, talking, and then we ended up at that conference and ended up at RCS, and then again at Andrew's conference, and then yeah, it's just it's wild. This
Yeah.
community is wild.
All connections in the fitness industry route through Andrew Coates. So that's what- that like it all goes through Andrew. He is the mayor of fitness, and somehow in some way everyone is connected to him or through him. It's undeniable
It's-
at this point.
No, it's going to be the
It's true.
good connections
The good
are
connections.
The
all
good
roads lead to
connection.
Andrew Coates.
Yes, yes.
You like how I fine-tune
Right.
that? Well, let
Yes,
me
let's
fine-tune
define
that one.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's pretty wild. And from there on, yeah, Carmie and I just hit it off. And you made that introduction pretty strategically, just before RCS. So we were able to actually
Yeah.
meet at RCS 2 years ago. And two, right? Did we did meet
Yeah.
at the
Yeah, we
and
met
now
2
it's
years
the
ago.
third
Yes.
one. Now we're going to the third
Yep.
one. So
Yep.
pretty wild. So
Because I
thank
didn't
you.
actually meet you in person till, what was it, last year at RCS. But we have spoken quite often in the DMs, Daniel. So
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
actually nice to
that's right.
meet you. And it's just a testament to actually like live in-person events because, Dal and I, we were connecting, we were resonating. But I think the whole shift in our relationship once we met each other and like realized, okay, I really do like you. Because, people
Thank
can be a
you.
little different. I'm like, okay, I caught the vibe. I wasn't sure about the vibe online, but it is though. You know what I mean? Like people can
For
be
sure.
different online versus in person. And who sometimes I've noticed that like people put on a show or put on like they play this character on Instagram or on socials, and then you meet them in real life. You're like, oh, that was a little different, but like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
was just a love match waiting to happen. Dal and I.
Well, that was
Yeah,
what I
so we
thought.
are.
Like, because I had met Dal in person first at Andrew's conference in Edmonton, and then just from again to your point, it's not. I don't even think it's necessarily on purpose from people, but people's personalities sometimes are different online and in DMs
Right.
than they are in real life, and it's not like they're trying to put on this fakeness or anything like that. I think it's just different sometimes, and then.
Sometimes they are, but thanks for being diplomatic.
Sometimes no, for sure. Sometimes people are just fake. No worries. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it too much, but
Yeah.
but then we interacted with Dal and I, and then Carmie from talking to you just in the end was like, oh, you guys seem like you would get along. That's all it was to me. And then I think Dal was going to RCS, but you and I were talking about it. I wasn't going that year.
Yes. Yeah.
And there weren't too many
Yeah,
people
you're
that you knew or whatever. And I just said, hey, I think you might I know that this other lady is also going, and I feel like you guys will like mesh really well. So intro you, at least you knew someone else who's going, and here we are. It's great.
Here we are. We're doing a
like fair
podcast.
point though. Dal didn't actually even need the introduction because she walked into the room and commanded the room. Like she was like a little social butterfly.
Not surprising.
No, seriously. And you're over there like trying to be humble, and I get it. That's cool. You can act humble for everybody. But no, she remember, I know the real you. No, she did so well because, I had other connections too that like, I was already rolling into it with. And she was like,
Mhm.
okay, hi, hello. Yes, we got to meet. We hung out here and there. But like, she was off just being a social butterfly with anybody and everybody. I was like, okay, she got this. She good.
Got this. Yeah, no, it's been a wild experience, and we want to just publicly thank you, and we appreciate the introduction, and it has changed our lives professionally and personally.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I'm very
thank
happy.
you.
I'm very happy to hear that. I'm so glad it worked out, and all these things, and just getting more good people together in the fitness industry. That's kind of half the battle. So I'm super glad
Yeah,
that
you
it
made a
worked out, and that we're
soulmate
here.
so hard with this introduction.
Okay, now about you. Enough about us.
We're done talking about us.
You can talk about you guys more. That's fine.
No,
It's your
we
show.
do that.
That's the best thing about your
About
podcast.
you though, Daniel.
Yes.
No, we talk about us a lot. Trust.
Trust.
We did a
Fair
whole
enough.
episode dedicated to just Dal and her vacation.
That's a good episode.
It was a good episode.
And all her dumb fuckery.
And my 8 hours of boozing a day.
There you go. That's valuable. That's real life.
Yeah, no, she literally was like, okay, from 12 to, what did you say, 12 to 8 or 12 to
8.
7?
12 to 8.
Oh, 12 to 8. 12 to 8 was her drinking hours.
What did you do after 8? That sounds like the morning shift on vacation to me.
Well, I have kids,
She
so I had to
still
be in
had
bed by
children to
10.
take care
That's
of.
right. That's right.
She had to make sure their kids stayed alive, didn't go overboard, things like
This
that,
is true.
Daniel. Make sure
This
they
is
didn't, wet their pants, all the good things.
This is true.
Oh,
I
you'll
haven't
understand.
got there yet.
Yes,
At some point in
yes.
your life, you'll understand. And then you'll
Yes.
remember back full circle moment to this conversation and be like, oh, I get it.
And
now I
and the
understand
lesson,
the cap.
no,
Yeah.
the lesson he's going to take is, okay, I can drink from 12 to 8.
Or you're just going to tell
Probably.
your wife, listen, we're going to have drinking shifts. I'm from this time to this time, and you're from this time to this time.
That's
Tap
funny.
you in, tap me out.
Oh, okay. No, we're fitness coaches. Anyways, no,
Are
I'm
we?
kidding. Okay. Not, yeah. Anyways, health coaches. Okay, let's talk about Daniel now. Now you please tell us about yourself. Obviously we've talked about how long you've been in the industry, but but like what you do and what you're all about, and yeah, let's just get started and we'll just go from there.
So I'll start this maybe by just telling the short version of like how I got into all of this, and that maybe will kind of just frame how I do and why I do what I do. And the short
Yeah.
version is that I played a lot of sports growing up, and I was always very active and like very competitive and all those kind of things. But I got injured a ton. I had like a crazy amount of knee injuries and like very rare knee injuries that like to this day I've only met like maybe two other people who have even dealt with those kind of things, and it was a lot from the time I was like 11 onwards. And then that resulted in this very big surgery that I had to have. And through the recovery of that surgery, it was like over a year long of recovery. I wasn't able to walk at all, or like put my foot down, or bend my leg, or do anything really for at least 3 months. And all of that gave me a really big perspective shift at a pretty young age. Like I was only 20 when it happened, when the surgery happened. And that was all like, oh, wow. Like, I was this young, supercharging athlete, like very fit, like I'm, nothing can beat me in the world kind of like attitude as just a young athlete. And then I was like, wow, I can't even like literally can't even get dressed by myself. Like I'm completely incapable of doing anything. And so that gave me a really good perspective shift. Now, obviously I was able to overcome it, and I was always going to overcome it. It's not like I was going to be wheelchair bound or something like that for the rest of my life, thankfully. But again, perspective shift on how important it is to be able to move your body and to keep your body strong and fit and like capable, just to be able to do everyday things. Like, yes, I wanted to get back to playing sports and being that athlete again, but I really just wanted to be able to like go to the bathroom and like get up by myself and
Yeah.
do normal things. It wasn't that was sports was so far out of my head at that point that I just wanted to be able to walk. Like literally that's it.
The basics,
the
right?
the bare bones basics. Like
Yeah.
there's a very distinct, like very clear memory I have in my head where like I literally went to the bathroom and like I was in so much pain and I couldn't like move my leg around because my leg had to stay straight and whatever. That like, picture this at 20 years old, like calling out to my mom to like, can you help
Sorry.
me put my pants on? And no, it's funny, and it's so
I know.
ridiculous, but it's like
But it's
it was in that like such an ego hit. Like I literally can't even.
yeah.
I'm in the bathroom and on the toilet, and I can't even put my own pants on. I have to call for my mom at 20 years old. I'm not a 7-year-old kid or less to
Yeah.
put my own pants on. And I was like, geez, like this is and this could become someone's reality. Either
Yeah.
through obviously traumatic accidents, which is
Yep.
terrible and uncontrollable, or just maybe a smaller version of that, where the people who have very bad back pain or knee pain or hip pain or your elbow or whatever, the things of life that just like slowly degrade over time because we don't take care of ourselves well, and then you lead to this point of dependence on other people.
Yeah.
And so all of that was like, okay, how can I get in front of this for myself and then for other people so that I prevent anyone, to the best of our ability, from being able to get to this, dip below this level of independence. And that's how I frame, like, that's always small in the back of my head of all of the fitness coaching. Like, yes, lose weight, build muscle, get a six pack, like, okay, all that stuff. But that's like, frankly, that's the easy part. Like that's the surface level stuff. Like how do we get people moving better, feeling stronger, feeling better, and make their life better through that. And so that is the frame that I bring to all of my coaching. I know that was a long-winded answer, so I'll let you guys
No,
take it
that's
from
No.
there.
good.
So I have a question for you. And it just came to my mind. If you hadn't gone through all those injuries and
I was gonna
experienced
ask
that
you.
really hard moment where you had to have your mom come help you and you realize like this could be like a reality if I don't take care of myself, do you think that you would be where you are today?
Yeah.
Probably not. It's hard to imagine the other side of like, well, what would I be doing instead? Because I started dealing with these injuries from a pretty young age. Again, I was 11 the first time it started happening, and then it was just a recurring thing, like every 6 to 8 months throughout that whole time. And so I was pretty interested in like physiotherapy or chiropractic or just like sports and fitness and just like how does the body work and why does it keep breaking? Like that interest started really young before I had
Mhm.
time to develop like, oh, maybe I like whatever, accounting or like law or like other stuff, like completely other things. So certainly my experience would have been very different if I didn't go through that and through that surgery. And as hard as it was and all that stuff, I'm grateful because of the perspective that it's given me to this point.
Mhm.
But
Uh-huh.
but yeah, everything would be very different if I didn't go through that.
Yeah, and like, your your messaging is sometimes I crack up because I love it. Some of your posts, there's the humor behind it, but you're very direct. It's direct, but, like, I chuckle. Do you find, like, that's also shaped, of course, how you coach, but also you've already mentioned your perspective, but just how you come across with your messaging and, how you see things, how you communicate with your clients, all of those things? Would you
I mean, like I haven't thought about that. It's a great question.
Mm,
Like probably yes, because I think everything shapes everything that we do.
mhm.
Um, but that was probably just more of my like my dad always used to call me a smartass when I was a kid, and
Yeah,
still now.
that's a
And
Good
good way to
personality.
he's like
describe it.
this like snarky kind of comments and like,
Yeah,
okay, it's true, but like, do you got to say it like that always? And it's not that extreme, I don't think.
it's
But
not.
I'm not like I really don't like sugarcoating things, and I really don't
Yeah,
like lying, and I don't like embellishment, and that's just I can't tell you a specific reason why that's the way that I am, but it is,
I
and
like it
maybe
though, it's you, it's
it's
original to
me.
you, it's authentic to you,
It's
right?
what we can
Correct.
Yeah,
expect from you.
Correct.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't try to be a certain way online. That's just how I am. And frankly, it's way easier to just be how you are than to try and like put on this
Yeah.
persona of like, oh, I'm trying to be like the witty, like hard ass, like, oh, I hard truth incoming. Watch out, everybody. Like that's not like I'm not trying
Yeah.
to put on this thing. That's just who I am.
No.
And people can take it however they want it. But I'm just very big on not lying. Like let's just tell the truth. Let's just say it how it
Yeah.
is. Like there's times to be emotional and nice, and there's times to just be good and just say what we need to be said. Now the other thing, maybe that shapes it a little bit more, is that through all these experiences, probably subconsciously, because I didn't realize it until like, I was a little bit older and I was able to reflect backwards, is that I could have made a choice in all of those injuries and especially in the big surgery recovery to be just like um to feel like a victim. Why did this happen to
Right.
me? Well, like this sucks. Let me just sit here on the couch and just take painkillers and do nothing. And I realized that, that wasn't like that was never really an option that crossed my mind. It was always like, well, what can I do about this? Okay, I can do this exercise. I can do what the physio said. The physio said to, do these knee bend, whatever, 10 times. Well, what if I do it 15 times? Like, what happens if I take a more proactive approach to this? And so I was
Mhm.
able to separate um, my emotions from the logic and the physical nature of what was happening and
Mhm.
focus on that and deal with my emotions separately, not squish them down and like put them away, but just be like, hey, I can feel sad and in pain, but that doesn't help me improve this situation. So what helps me improve this situation is to like be very logical, scientific, if you will, about it, and then what are the action steps that I can take to improve my situation, and then do that. And I can feel sad all the while I'm doing that if I want to, but it's not
Mhm.
actually a productive feeling in that moment. And I feel the same way when I talk now about weight
Consistency,
loss
yeah.
and about
Yeah.
fitness in general. It's like maybe a common kind of theme is like, oh, all of the things of my life are the things that made me overweight because this thing happened to me in my childhood. My mom did
Mhm.
this. My dad did this. My culture did this. My uncle did that. Whatever. All the bad things that happened in my life, the government, whoever. And it's like, yeah, that might all be true, and no one can say yes or no or deny that or take that
Mhm.
away from you. But the next step, none of those things matter. Like it might not be your fault that you're in the situation that you're in, but it is your responsibility to get yourself out of it. So you can at the same time feel sorry and feel sad for yourself and try to work to fix the system, so to speak. But at the same time, you have to actually, well, what can I actually do about this? To just being sad and being loud doesn't help fix anything. You have to start to take steps to start to fix, and this is fitness, and this is, I think, the rest of life as well.
It's everything.
It's everything. You can be sad about the things that happen to you, but then you've also got to actually do something about it. And so I think too often we're in this, like, it's either or, but really it has to be like both of the
This
things
and
together.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Two
funny you
things
say,
can
you
be
know,
true at the same time.
Correct.
yeah, and what you're talking about, that's entire sentiment, like this is what we all talk about, and we just communicate it differently, and we come from a different way of how we resonate with one person. Like our messaging, my messaging might not resonate with your audience,
Mhm.
with Carmie's audience, but we're all saying the same thing. Like we've all been through things, and what served us then doesn't serve us now. And so it's our responsibility to be accountable to that and say, okay, exactly. Basically, I'm repeating what you said in a different way, is like, say, okay, that happened to me. I can accept that, but I still need to make that choice to move forward, period. Like
Yeah.
I am the only one that can get out of this. I mean, I will say personally, I hate the saying like, oh, no one's coming to save you. It's true, like, I don't hate it, but I think that it's missing context. Yes, no one's coming to save you, but that can also imply and be perceived as, "Okay, you gotta do it on your own." Whereas
Mm.
it's like, "No, let's take a step back. Yes, no one's coming to save you. You gotta take accountability. You gotta take the next step. You have to make that choice for yourself, but there's this whole community and support circle around you that will, and basically you need to help you move through this. Like you're not meant to do it alone, right?
Yeah.
So I love that, like that your message that you just articulated there is pretty much what we're all saying. Again, it just comes across like how we communicate it. That's it. So yeah, that's a strong, and your messaging actually is very clear with that point. Like you can see that threaded throughout your messages, like all of your posts. I can. I love it. Sometimes you'll be like, okay, the war, but what are you going to do to go, go lift some weights?
But now go to the gym.
Yeah.
Now go to the gym. Okay,
Yeah.
this is going on, but
It's going to resonate with the people who have very short attention span. They're like, 2 sentences. Oh, okay. He's
Perfect.
telling me to go to the gym. Oh, he's
Yes.
telling me to eat my fruits and veggies. Okay, got it.
So
Message
Yeah.
sometimes those are funny. I mean, personally, just funny to me. But also, if I think
Oh, they are
a
funny.
little bit deeper, it's like it brings us back to earth a little bit. It's like, okay, all this noise, war and this and
Yeah.
bad stuff and the government and I like I am not immune to getting caught up in those things. Like I will spend a whole day scrolling Twitter if I
Oh,
could, and
really?
just
You go down that rabbit hole?
monitoring the situations of the world. Oh, what happened in this
Yeah.
random city that I've never heard of before in the other side of the world? I'll go in deep rabbit holes. But then it's like, okay, well first of all, I can get very negatively emotional about that, and I think so can anyone, because you look at horrible things that are happening and the horrors of the world, and it's like, oh, the world sucks. But it's like, okay, bring me back to earth. What do I need to do? I need to, make lunch. I need to go to the gym. I need to, whatever the next thing in my life that I actually have to do is me scrolling Twitter, watching the news or whatever. It just unfortunately doesn't change anything. If it did, then we could all make the world a better place, and that would be it. But
Like, what can you
doesn't.
manage locally? Locally meaning your
It's
5
controlling
kilometer
the
radius.
variables that we can control, because we can't control the war because we didn't start it. We didn't say yes to it, but we can't control whether or not. There you go again with your Americans thing, okay? Because you two superior Canadians, okay? I can't help where I was born and where I was immigrated to. But it's the truth.
No
Essentially, that's what you're
politics.
saying is you can't control what's going on politically, but you can control what's going on under your own roof and with your own body for the most part.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
again,
it's
context
even
matters,
less
right?
than that. It's not necessarily political big ideas, but it's even like my boss is being mean to me this week. I have so much work to do.
Yeah.
Oh, my kids are doing this, and I have to be careful with talking about stuff with kids because I don't have kids yet. I'm talking to 2 people with kids, so you guys know. But
No,
like
but
anything
you
external to you,
resonate.
it then becomes like, well, what do I have to do? And obviously, you can't just be so selfish and not care about your kids or your job or your husband or wife or the people around you and all those things. But that is the smaller locus of control that you have to undertake, so you could start to make positive changes in your life with fitness and with everything else too.
Yeah, and there's just so much out there, so much noise. I mean, we can even transition this into and get your thoughts on the noise in our space, like just in the space itself, and how
Mhm.
that impacts someone to, make that initial decision to even like move, like it's almost like some people are stuck just because it's so overwhelming. Like, what are your thoughts
They
on
have
that? And how
paralysis
would
by
you
analysis.
paralysis by analysis, and how would you advise, or what would your take be on that?
If I had the solution to this, I would, I think, be a very rich man, but I don't. So
Yeah.
I think it's a problem for sure, and it's a good problem to have in a way, because some of the noise, and by noise I'll define it as like
Mhm.
talking about the carnivore diet, talking about the 6 supplements that you absolutely need to burn fat, like, oh, this hormone unlocking secret, or blah blah blah, and any other
Right.
number of like extraneous things that are not necessarily bad, but they're just like not, it's not the foundation level. Sometimes those things do a really good job of getting someone who is on the couch eating potato chips, feeling sorry for themselves, to get into the world of fitness and health. For whatever reason, that is their entry point, rather than someone who's going to sit here and say, hey, control your calories, walk 10,000 steps a day, and like go lift weights a few times a week. That's like, foundation, but it's kind of boring. And I'm very
Mhm.
aware of that. Um, so it's good and bad. The bad side is then that some people get focused on those things that don't actually move the needle for them. And a story to explain this is, I had a client who came to me once, and he was very overweight, pre-diabetic, had fatty liver disease, like a whole bunch of things going on. And he told me, he said, I haven't really started much yet, but I started grounding.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, man, like I'm all for barefoot in the grass. Like that's definitely, one of my things. But like,
Mhm.
dude, that's like 97 steps away from where you got to be. Like, did you
Mhm.
just stand on the grass and like have a cigarette and a glass of wine? Or did you like go for a walk, and what are we doing about this? Like, yes, the
Yeah.
grounding is healthy and it's good and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not actually enough to move the needle. And so the message gets conflated, because he probably saw
Right.
some post that this is the most important thing you can do to recharge your electrons and blah 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 blah. And while that might all be true, it's just like that's not what you need to be doing. So it's a really tough balance between like
Yeah.
all the fluff, all the extra stuff, but that's like level 2, level 3, and beyond of fitness stuff, rather than just make sure you're generally active, make sure you're engaging in strength training of some kind, make sure that you're eating, healthy whole foods for the most part, make sure that you're controlling your calories, sleeping well, drinking enough water, all those basic stuff. So it does a good job of getting people in the world. It doesn't always do a good job of giving people what they need where they're at. The problem is,
Right.
like, the social media is just like all the messaging goes to the same place. So you might see a post about like some very niche, I don't know if this is really on too much of your guys' algorithms, or on your
Mhm.
audiences, but like the optimal lifting stuff for
Oh, yeah.
hypertrophy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Like,
Yeah,
it
we're
should
so
seeing it
be
too.
at X degrees, this much, da 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 da, blah 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 blah
right,
blah. Like,
And
it's so nuanced, and so honestly, like, missing the point, because this is going to be for somebody who's at a very high caliber of lifting,
right,
where honestly, all we just want to do is get these people in the gym and strength training.
right,
Like,
yeah.
yes, do we want them to have proper form without injuring themselves? Absolutely. But like, not about like where their knee flexion is completely, or like the degree of which their bicep curl is. Are they doing it, at the eccentric phase or concentric phase? They don't care about that shit. They're just like, teach me what I need to know so I can get some kind of body I could be happy and proud about.
But they get
exactly.
sucked into it. That's a problem, right? Is
Yeah.
that where you're kinda leading, Daniel? Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
where
like it's really good stuff. Like, a lot of it is really,
yeah.
personally for me, as just like a fitness nerd, and farther into the
Yeah.
world, it's really interesting. But I don't think it's that applicable to the vast majority of people. The problem is that
Exactly.
post just goes on Instagram, and there's nothing wrong with the post. Like, I'm not even necessarily like shitting on those people, or that type of content. Um, it's like, but we can't have oh, you have to be a certain level of lifter to go on this Instagram and to watch these. We can't do that. And so, but it all gets
Yeah.
mixed in the same
Can't
bucket.
filter
And so
it.
that is more, attention grabbing. It seems
Hmm.
cooler and all that stuff. And it does good for getting the attention economy. Um, but the vast majority of people don't need that. And so then they get started with this like overcomplicated lifting routine, but they don't actually know how to like stay consistent with that. They don't actually know how to engage any of the muscles. Like I see people at the gym bring seat belts and all these extra handles and they're using all this stuff. And it's like, but you've been lifting for two
A
months. Like this is not,
seatbelt.
yeah, you bring your own seatbelt to the gym to strap you into the machine to make your body more
Keep you
stable, which,
keep you in place.
fine if you're like a actual high level bodybuilder. But from my point of view, actually in a training perspective is like, if you're a beginner, you need to learn how to make your own body stable. Like you're so far away from this
Correct.
like maximal hypertrophy thing that like you need to figure out how to keep your own body stable in space, because you don't have a seatbelt when you're walking down the street. Like you slip on ice, what's going to happen? You're going to fall because the seatbelt's not holding you to the chair. So I think it's actually doing a disservice in that way, but like it's not anyone's
Yeah.
fault. It's just this is just the way it is.
Right. And like the whole ideal optimal rhetoric, not just with strength training, but with nutrition too. It's just like,
Yeah.
you keep it's like not you. When I say you, I mean the audience or just people in general see this messaging and it's like, well, this is what's ideal for you. This is what's optimal. This much protein, this much fiber. Cool. Yeah, all of those things are ideal and optimal at certain levels, but what's ideal and optimal for you is going to differ from one person to the next to the next, and it's going to differ in terms of what your season of life looks like, what you can do within the parameters of your own life. But that message gets lost. And there's a real gap there between, what going back to what you just said, what you should be doing, just the bare bone basics, in comparison to what your algorithm or what you're seeing on social media. And then, within our industry, this type of messaging being so abundant, it's confusing overall and it's overwhelming. And so I think again, another place where people might seem to get stuck.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to break through those barriers, just as coaches, us, generally speaking, and spread our message, and get through all that noise on
Yeah.
our end of things as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I think
um,
for us as women, where we really get where I see it is like the women like that are trying to like build the booty of your dreams and they're just throwing all these exercises out there. But I'm like, okay, yes, but you're at a higher level than what most people are starting out at. So like let's just learn or teach them how to do a basic hip thrust, a basic squat, basic deficit reverse lunge, all those things, get them going on that. And then we can work on fine tuning it later on. But then you're also lacking the context behind it as far as promising them to build that dump truck. But like you're not even talking about nutrition. But again, like nobody's going to stick around for that messaging. So
yeah.
that's where I have a hard time with because that's we all try to operate with integrity, context, and nuance. And like yes, you can have that booty, but but nobody wants to hear the butt part.
Yeah.
and how do you deal with that? Like, do you see that with your clients? Do you see that type of like discouragement or frustration coming through? And then like, how do you talk them through that? And are they as receptive to that?
It's not so much a discouragement as it
Yeah,
is just confusion, I would say,
confusion. Okay,
where
yeah.
they'll come to me and say, "Hey, I saw this thing online. Like, what does that mean?" And
Mm,
then I'll just break it down for them. Now, because they're already my clients, they have a
right.
level of trust in me, right? Where they value my opinion and know that I know what I'm talking about and trust that I have their best interest in mind. And so to some degree, like I'm happy that okay, they're engaging in more fitness content online and whatever the algorithm is pushing to them. But I'm also extra happy that they actually come to me and kind of validate it before they just start doing random stuff. And again, not because it's necessarily wrong, whatever they're seeing. It's just it's up to me at that point to understand what it is, understand what their level is, and then explain to them, hey, this might be a good idea for you, or this is not a good idea for you because of X, Y, and Z, or we're actually going to get there. That's like, 2 levels away from where you're at in your training phase or whatever. So it's so individual. So it's hard to give a blanket answer to your
Mm-hmm.
question, but
For sure.
it's yeah, I wouldn't say it's disappointment. It's more just like it's causing confusion. And it can be good because it causes people to think a little bit more.
Mhm.
And so that's good as we try and build independence. And oftentimes it's framed to me in the perspective of, hey, I saw this and this sounds like a little bit counter to what we do. Is
Mm.
this wrong? And then they're like, well, that post had like 7,000 million likes or whatever. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, that girl has a huge ass. Like, that's why it has a bunch of likes. It's not like because
I
of
know.
anything. It's not like, it's not because like the context might not even have been that wrong, but it's just like, well, yeah, she's very attractive. And so that's why it had a bunch of likes, not because it's some revolutionary thing. Like the thing that I always kind of frame it is like, nobody's really inventing anything new in fitness. Like
No.
there's very, very, very few new things. They're few and far between. All of the best exercises have already been invented. We already know how to diet. We know how to do, and no one is coming up with anything new. And if someone claims to have come up with something new and revolutionary that this works and this unlocks the secret to, a small waist and low body fat percentage and a big booty and whatever, one of two things is true. Either that person is the smartest person that has ever lived, that they're more intelligent than every single other person, researcher in the fitness industry in the history of the world, or they're wrong. And most of the time,
Or
the second
it's a
the second
BBL.
one, or they're lying, right? So maybe there's a third
Yeah.
one, or they're wrong / lying. So chances are the second one is more likely because, like, again, no one's coming up with anything new. Human anatomy has not changed that much at all since we've invented the scientific method to discover anything. So are people inventing new exercises? No. Did someone find some new angle of lunge that you can do to unlock 73% more glute growth? No, it's just impossible. And so when we
Oh
think about
man.
it from like these very logical, like, hey, can I get past the marketing and see it for what it is? And then I can decide unemotionally, is this good for me or not? And that's also part of where I try to cut through some of that noise and being very direct with my messaging, because that's
Yes.
how I think about things. I look past all the marketing and like, what are you trying to sell me here? Oh, it's a calorie deficit. Okay, got it. I understood that
Mm.
that you made up this new diet and oh, I have a 500 calorie deficit. Okay, thanks. Just leave it there for me.
Hey,
But obviously I have
that'll
more
make a good
information to cut
post,
through that. But
Daniel.
yeah, sorry.
That'll make a good post. I go, that'll make a good post. I like that. Like what, trying to see it from the lens, always approach things from the lens of like, what are they trying to sell me? Like, what does this really, like when you, peel it, like you
Yeah.
see what it is really
Like
about.
breaking it down and seeing what
Breaking
it
it down.
really is
Yeah.
at its like core level. Like
Yeah.
what is really
It
the
comes
point
back to the
here? Let's get rid of the
basics.
fluff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's just
critical
all,
thinking is hard.
I was just going to say critical thinking. We lack
Yeah.
critical thinking, right? In this day and
But
age,
it's great that you're
unfortunately.
providing that safe space for your clients though, because that's amazing that they are looking at it, questioning it, and
Yep.
asking like, hey, what is the validity behind this? What is your thoughts on this? So that's amazing that you're creating that environment and thinkers
And
in that
that's what
nature.
you want,
Yeah.
right? Like I know I've been training with Andrew, and I want to really transition into this because like, your thing is strength training and we want to talk about this,
Uh-huh.
but like I've been training with him for almost 4 years and I do the same thing. I'll bring some things to him and say, "Hey, just your thoughts," because I really just want to understand from my own perspective, right? Like
Mhm.
does this make a difference? And sometimes there is something that someone shows you how to do something like a different technique and it actually, works better than what you've been doing, which is
Mhm.
cool. But strength training. So this is your thing. Carmie and I talk about how important it is. We know the benefits. Of course, we have our own coaches still. So we have our own trainers. You're a trainer. So if you want to just riff off that and like just talk about the importance of strength training, especially for everyone, but for women in general. And yeah, let's just go from there because that's not something that we really get into the nitty gritty. So
Yeah.
that
So
would be awesome.
I'll come at this from two angles. First, I'll talk about it from like the aesthetic angle,
Yeah.
which is frankly simpler and a little bit more boring to me, and then I'll talk about it from like the physical ability angle. So
Awesome.
when you're losing weight, you want everyone wants to have like that toned shape, right?
Mhm.
Muscle is what gives your body shape. If you just starved yourself and lost a bunch of weight, your body will eventually just, you keep losing weight, you'll just look like a string bean, or like your body there's no substance to it. And maybe that's the look you're going for. I'm not here to judge, but probably not. So, strength training is the thing that is going to put muscle on your body, and not when I say put muscle on your body, it's not that you're going to become this big, bulky, giant monster. You're just going to have shape
She-Hulk.
on your body. Yeah, She-Hulk. Yeah,
Yeah.
and unless you
Speak for
want to take a bunch of
yourself.
steroids, that's how you would accomplish
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
again, if you want to do that, by all means, do whatever you want, as long as you don't harm other people. Um, so putting muscle on your body is the thing that is going to give your body shape, so that when you lose enough body fat, your body has the ability to reveal the shape that you've been trying to show. If you don't have that underlying muscle, you lose all the body fat you want. You're still not going to, on average, like the way that you look, because there's nothing creating that shape that you want. So strength training is the only way to build that muscle. And I say that very specifically because running and group classes and Pilates and all of those things, they're all fine and good. And like, I endorse them, and like, you should do them if you think that they're fun. However, muscle building happens by putting the muscles through a specific resistance and having them adapt to those changes, right? There's the SAID principle, specific adaptations to imposed demands. If you continue to run and you continue to do cardio, you will do well to improve your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, your uh, arteries and veins, etc. If you do Pilates, um, because of the lack of specificity in training the muscles in Pilates and the lack of progressive overload in those things, you will gain some amount of strength, but it will be very little in the grand scheme of things, and it won't continue to progress. The reason why people get caught in these is because if you go from doing nothing to something, you will have profound benefits right away. If you've never exercised and you go to Pilates for 3 months, you will feel much stronger, and you definitely will, because you have nothing to compare it to. But if you start strength training, you can continue to get stronger. So because of the specificity involved in strength training, squats, hinges, hip thrusts, lunges, pull-ups, push-ups, all the exercises, we can target specific muscles and specific movement patterns and tailor them very easily to someone's injuries, someone's preferences, someone's available equipment, and then start to work on improving those movement patterns. So again, the basic movement patterns are going to be squats, lunges, hinges, presses, upper body presses, and upper body pulls, and then maybe you call carry as a
Yeah.
primal movement pattern, if you will. But we can train these very well. And these are the things that we do in life. One of the things that gets missed is that, you don't lift things up and down in a straight line in a gym with a cable. And that is true. But all of these things are manufactured. All of the types of exercise are manufactured in some way. So if we want to train the muscles to make them stronger, make the tendons stronger and more resilient, add muscle to our body for our health and for our aesthetic value, strength training is simply and kind of undeniably the best way to do that. Now, if someone for some reason absolutely despises strength training and like, I wouldn't be caught dead doing a push-up even at home or whatever, fine. Do other forms of exercise. It will be less effective at the things that are involved in improving your strength. And if for some reason you don't care about that, then okay. But we have to stop convincing ourselves that other things are good for what they're good at. Doing a bunch of push-ups is not good for helping you run a marathon, right? Running a marathon is not good at helping you be stronger and add muscle to your body. So we just got to say, like, okay, this goes in this bucket, this goes in this bucket, this goes in this bucket. Strength training is the thing that puts muscle on your body, helps you be stronger to deal with the activities of everyday life. And I'll end my ramble here, but if I go back to my story about being able to get up and move around and all these things, when we see elderly people who struggle to continue to live independently, which means that they need a PSW or some type of permanent help, or to be in an old age home or things like that, it's because they struggle to do activities of daily living, and that is because they lose their strength. assuming there's no other injuries or things involved. But that's things like getting up out of a chair, sitting down and up off the toilet, being able to carry a bag, being able to put your own clothes on. We don't see these things as strength because they're like the threshold for that is very low because we're all, young and healthy. And if I'd say young is if you're under 85, you're young. Like those things are not difficult to you. It doesn't seem difficult to get up off the toilet. But if you never squat, you never bend down, you never do any strength training, eventually that thing will become difficult because our
Mm.
our society is not engineered in such a way where we are super active. It's actually unbelievably easy to be incredibly inactive. And so we have to go
Mhm.
out of our way to strength train to just emulate those things so that when we are older, we can still do very normal things. It's not about being the strongest grandma in the old age home. It's just about can you get off the toilet by yourself when you're
Mhm.
90 years old. And by the when you're 89, it's a little bit too late to kind of start doing that. Not really too late, never too late to start, I guess. But like the earlier you start, the better. You're going to build yourself a bigger buffer, and that just happens through strength training,
Right.
almost entirely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I bear witness to that almost every day at my job, where I witness, the older generation where they
Mm.
just struggle to get on and off my table,
Hmm.
walk unassisted. And, the health coach in me knows that it's because there was that lack of intention with their mobility and their strength while they were younger. And, what comes out of their mouth, and I've said it before, is, oh, don't get older, sweetheart. It's for the birds. And I'm like thinking, well, yes, but no, because if you are proactive in your younger years, more than likely you'll struggle less because I've seen it. Like I just had this week, I think was she 92? God, she made my heart sing because she had just a cane but barely used it just for a little bit of stability just in case. Um, but yeah, she came in I think for like a knee x-ray and I'll never forget her. She was like, "Yeah, I gotta get this thing like situated because I gotta get up and moving. Like this is affecting my quality of life. I need to be up, moving, and grooving." She's like, "Nobody's
Hmm.
got time to just be sitting around." And I was like, "God bless you." I was like,
Yeah.
"Because
Yeah.
you are moving better than some of my 50-year-olds." And she was like, "Yeah, no, I never take my body for granted." And that's part of the problem is that we take our bodies for granted because right now in this moment we're moving well, but then we're not foreshadowing later on in life.
Yeah, and that's the thing I think that we don't, just speaking from personal experience as well, we fail to what we're do I mean, this shit starts in our 20s really, right? 20s,
Yeah.
30s, 40s, and we don't realize the impact that our actions are having. And I won't know either, to tell you the truth, the impact that my actions have um had or will have in the future, but I also know that what I'm doing now and have done will rectify some of that impact for sure and
Yeah.
decrease that. But we live in the present and we just don't think about because it's so far out,
Hmm.
right? It's so far out and
Mhm.
you're not thinking about what's actually taking place in your body now. It's happening now, but it's not going to show itself for another 20 years, right? 15, 20 years. And unfortunately, because of that gap or that disconnect, as far as like time is concerned, you know, I guess people don't see it as an urgency. And I'll admit, neither did I, because excuse me, when I was at my heaviest, I got blood work drawn and everything was fine, seemingly fine. But was it? I don't know. In the moment, yeah. But maybe if I continued my lifestyle and went back 2 years later, some things would have come up, right? So, I mean, how do we move someone or how do we even influence? Because that's what we're kind of doing here, but how do we encourage people without shaming? And I mean, I think shaming, yes, but I like definitely no. But fear, yeah, like sometimes fear can work done in a diplomatic kind of way, right? Like
Hmm.
There was a
it
really
can
good
have an
reel that
impact.
actually came out to kind of address that, and I think you probably saw it where it was like that heart disease or that heart attack that you had started 20 years ago with all of your eating
Right, I've seen
habits.
Hmm.
that messaging. Yeah.
Yeah, like the you in the
Yeah.
the walker or in the wheelchair stem from you 20 years ago not taking your health and wellness seriously. So I mean, that's a very diplomatic way to put it, but I just don't know how do we get the message across to people like you were saying like to take that seriously today, right now.
And strength
Yeah.
training. Yeah, yeah, go ahead,
Yeah, I
Daniel,
mean,
sorry.
there's a couple ways to go about this. We're not going to save everybody, unfortunately, as much as we want to. We're not. There's too many distractions in the world. People have other frankly more pressing things to worry about, and I say more pressing as in that may or may not be real, but that's their perception, right? People have bills to pay, a
That's
single
their
mom
truth.
working 4 jobs, like that's your truth. So like, is that mom like going and is she watching this podcast? Like probably not. Is she worried about her strength training? Like probably not, because it's like so far down the list of like things that people have to worry about in their life. And obviously we're sympathetic to that. The way that I see it from like that fear perspective, because even saying like, hey, if you don't do this now, when you're 90, you're going to be in a wheelchair, in a walker, not able to go to the bathroom by yourself. It's still too far away. The way that I try to approach it is drawing attention to things that are happening right now. So thankfully, the human body is extremely resilient. Otherwise, we would all fall apart like very quickly, right? The human body is very resilient and very adaptable, and these changes happen slowly. But if you pay attention, things are still happening. It's the the common like memes or whatever that people talk about as they get older. Oh, when you like, I'm 31, turning 32 later this year. Okay, I'm not old. I don't consider myself old. I don't like subscribe to any of that. But there are people who I know, friends and stuff from high school, that are like, oh, once you pass 30, you just like, your back doesn't feel the same anymore. And it's like, give me a break. It's like if you feel that way when you're 30, what's going to happen when you're 70? You know what I mean? And the same thing when you're 40. Oh, it'll never be better. When you're 50, it's not, like it just never ends. And so what I take from that is that those little things, that that 5% knee pain that's just creeping in there. When you wake up in the morning and your back is just a little tight and it never used to be. When you bend down on the floor to play with your kids and getting up, you're like, like it's hard to get up. Like those are the little signs. And we start to pay attention. If we draw attention and awareness to those things, that's like, hey, okay, now that you notice that, oh yeah, those pants that used to fit really well, like, yeah, you can still do them up, but like you got to kind of do a little shimmy shake to get in them, like
nip attack and a shake.
Yeah, and it's like, and again, it's not the shame. It's just like, hey, let's just be aware of this, and then
like pay attention to those little signals that are being sent out to you.
Correct, and then let's play the tape forward. What happens if we do nothing and we continue on this path? Is that back pain magically gonna go away? Are those jeans gonna magically start to fit? Is your energy gonna just all of a sudden improve with no additional inputs or changes? Probably not. And so we just have to draw awareness to some of these things. In my opinion, drawing awareness to some of these things is how we get around this. How do we get people into this world without shaming or without being like, berating, anything like that? I don't think that that's effective. Now, if there's someone who's like very close to you in your life, who you have a personal relationship with, and they're individual personality it tends to this kind of thing. Like I have friends that I would be like, hey man, fucking smarten up.
Yeah.
Like I would say that to them, like stop being an idiot, stop being a loser, stop being blah, 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 blah. But that's very specific language to a very specific individual. I would never just say that to somebody that I don't know.
Well, you know your audience, right?
It's not even an audience. It's like an individual person who I like have a close relationship with that I would say that to, right?
Right.
And there's people who respond to that. There's people who respond to all types of things. Most people, of course, wouldn't respond to that. It would, shut them down. And you would know this better than I do. But it's like, if we draw awareness to those things, and then we can make a point of saying like, hey, yeah, this is not going great for you, and it's not unfixable, but we need to start taking some actions today to start fixing that. And so that is maybe looking at your diet, looking at your sleep, looking at your strength training, looking at your exercise, blah, blah, blah. And that's how we start to get people into the world. And then we just make changes slowly that way versus, the militant style of like, stop being a fat loser, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's not, that's funny, but that's not necessarily helpful.
But something you said, I think this is a really key point that I think that we all stress in different ways, but slowly, like let's take things slowly and let's like start letting go of the fucking timeline. Like what is this about the timeline, right? And
we're in a race to nowhere is what I always say.
Yeah.
We're in a race to nowhere.
Yeah.
So like you have this 6-month training goal or whatever. What happens after that? We just keep training. Like you didn't cross the finish line. Like, oh, I did it. I did the fitness thing. I don't have to work out anymore. Like that doesn't exist, unfortunately.
No, I think
the only reason fitness exists
is
because of the only reason fitness exists as an industry is because like our world is so movement devoid.
Society.
So we have
Yep.
to like manufacture like going to a gym, which is a strange thing. If you show this to a person even like 200 years ago, they'd be like, "What are you doing? Like, it's weird.
Well,
Like, don't
let's
you have a
just go
job?
back
Like,
like even just go back 1, 2 generations. Like I look at my parents and
yeah,
they immigrated here, but
mhm,
if they had stayed there, they would have could like where we come from, the region of Punjab, the state of Punjab in India, they're farmers, right? And
right,
so they're active, they're out there all day, they're moving. And I remember my grandma telling us stories and all of this. And so yeah, they were naturally picking up huge, like they didn't have to pick up a set of dumbbells because they're picking up
right.
other shit and so that and now though, like you just said, our society's so sedentary just because of the nature of, the world that we live in today and the jobs that we do and the lives that we lead. And now everything's at home. We went to COVID caused us, like caused, but basically like shifted everything to work from home and
Mhm.
all of that. And it's like, okay, now we have to counteract that. And how do we do that? And you're right. Like this thing, like about strength training, like it never existed 100 years ago, right? I'm just gonna say 100, but whatever. I don't know the exact. It wasn't there. It came about as a result of to like how can we build muscle because we're in the office all day, or how can we,
Yeah.
So if we can understand that and really accept it, and now realize that like, hey, like we have to go and do the things that our ancestors did. Like, yeah, it's
The
it's
way that I think
important.
about
It's
it is
crucial.
that it's just a prerequisite for being a healthy,
Human.
normal human being. It just never
Exactly.
existed because our world is very different now than it ever has. But our biology has not changed. Like
No.
our technology has advanced way faster, obviously and thankfully, than our biology has. So
Mhm.
again, our ancestors didn't have to do these things because they had physical jobs and lived very physical, very very difficult lives. Now, I would trade having like clean water and abundant food
Yeah.
for for their world. I'll take our world 10 times out of 10. But we have to manufacture the other things because our biology hasn't caught up to not needing to exercise and use our muscles and physically use our body unless you want to be in like the Wall-E, just like live inside of a
Yeah.
virtual simulator thing and never move ever. But like that's a horrible life. Until we get there, you need to move your body, and unfortunately or
Yeah.
fortunately, strength training is just a prerequisite to be able to do that well and to be able to live a good life.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I have a
Exactly.
question.
Well
I kind of want
said.
to circle back to the whole strength training, building muscle situation,
Mhm.
because I think this is huge for women. Do you get a lot of
Yeah.
pushback from the women about strength training and building muscle? About I don't want to look quote unquote manly. I don't want to quote unquote look
Oh.
bulky because we've all fallen victim to that narrative, us
Mhm.
women.
Oh,
And
but
I
so
will
many
attest
women.
to
Yeah.
it. But I'll attest to it for my own self that like once I started building muscle, I was like, oh shit. This is what I
I
was
like
chasing the whole
this.
entire time.
Yeah.
Yes.
uh,
I'm like,
Yes.
okay.
I know. Like,
I'm like, "Let's keep it
yeah.
going." Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Let's
Yeah.
keep
And
it going."
women.
Yeah, those striations. But what do you do when you
Yeah.
find, like, a client or somebody that you're just talking to, maybe in your DMs or just in passing, and they're like, "Oh, no, but I don't wanna look manly or bulky," because we know that that's a narrative that needs to die, but it's not dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why isn't it dying? Because women in my social circle and families and they still think that. So please
Well,
help
because
Yeah.
us
even,
explain
like, the
that.
men in my family will see me and be like, "Oh, you're really muscular." Like, "I know. Thank you," because it's, like,
Yeah.
taboo for them.
Do you guys know and I don't know the answer to this, but do you know where that originated?
What's that? Like the whole
Just the whole
bulkiness?
idea of like women getting bulky from lifting weights? Do you know? I
I'm
genuinely don't
gonna
know.
I legitimately don't
I'd
know, but
say,
what I'm gonna say is probably society
but I would
because
Yeah.
say,
we've been go ahead,
yeah, go ahead,
sorry.
Carmi. No, I was just gonna say maybe the bodybuilding world because prior to, I don't, this is what I'm just assuming. I don't know either, but like women that were lifting in the bodybuilding world, not generally speaking. And so we are as women, we're equating because most, this is my opinion, most of them, like they're probably using some sort of, I don't know, steroid,
No,
however you
Aid.
want to put
not
it, or
We'll just
probably.
say
something.
They
aid.
are.
They have
They
help.
are.
It's part of the sport.
They are, and they do look like dudes. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'm just gonna say it. Like, no, I'm not sorry because that is what I feel, and
They are
I
losing their
still kind.
feminine features.
Yes, and I say this too. I'm like, yeah, I want to lift. I do want to get toned, and I want to have that like look, but I also don't want to look like a dude because I still have that image ingrained in me because that's what we grew up seeing. So that's what I associate it to.
Yeah.
But it's
I
Okay.
don't know if that
also
helps.
a lack of education out there and knowledge because these women think that. We think that. We used to think that. But again, we didn't
Mm.
have the knowledge that we have now, knowing that those women are probably on HRT. There's a whole lot of other things going on, and they've done this for years because I am natty. And I look nothing like that. But the problem is because these women that are so extreme are highlighted, where women like me are not highlighted, where it's like I'm living the lifestyle, but I'm not doing anything to the extreme.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the parallel and like that hang up is happening.
Yeah. So the way that I go about this is kind of just
Mhm.
talking them through it. Like, hey, that doesn't happen. Like, you won't just magically become this like big bulky She-Hulk unless you decide to do this, 6 days a week for 10 years and take steroids. And I just laid out like that.
Okay.
I'm like, that's if you want
Perfect.
to do that, you can do that. But like, that's up to you. It won't happen accidentally. And I used myself. I said, I try to get huge without using
Mhm.
steroids. And do I look like some big, overly bulky person? Like, no, unfortunately. Don't shake your head, Dal. I'm trying to be huge. Come on,
Well,
man.
you want okay, you wanna
Come
be
on,
Hulk?
man.
Is that you wanna
Yes.
be Hulk?
Trying
Oh,
hard.
okay, okay.
Jeez.
You look
Just
good.
ego
You look
hit.
good. You look
Ego
fit.
hit.
You look fit and
Ego
strong
You
and
kills.
look like a
muscular.
fit person. Don't look like
Yeah.
a meathead. You look like a
Yes,
fit
unfortunately.
person.
Yeah,
Please don't look
unfortunately.
I don't want you walking
Anyways,
around like Hulk. No, I'm just kidding.
I do though. But
Okay.
anyways, but my
He wants
point is
strapped
like
to his ears.
I
correct.
know,
My
right?
my my my
Trapped
point
juices.
my point with telling them that is like, hey, like I deliberately try to add muscle to my body, not at the expense of the rest of my life, obviously. But and I don't look like this gigantic bulky mess. So if you
Right.
are not going to train as hard and as long as even I do, which most of my clients are not, you're not even going to, especially as a woman, you just gain less muscle than a man.
Mhm.
You're not going to look like that. Number one, or that's number one. Then number two, I also point out to them that a lot of a lot of that actual bulkiness that they think is actually extreme leanness. So when you have enough muscle on
Mm.
your body and you get very, very, very lean, like the bodybuilders, like the cover model type influencer type people, they're very lean, and that makes the muscle look more pronounced. Right? You get to get those like rounded shoulders, the very defined back muscles. Like that's not. Some of those girls are not gigantic. They might be like 5'2", 220 pounds.
Yeah.
Like this is not a gigantic person, but they're just very, very lean. And so it makes the muscles pop out. Then we
Mm.
talk about, photo editing, lighting, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
And then it just all becomes very apparent that, oh, okay, that's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to become some like, again, She-Hulk type person by accident. Then I start
Good.
to get them start training, and then they to your point, Carmi, is like they start to really like it. And it's like, oh, how much did I do on that hip thrust again? Oh yeah, I can
Mhm.
like how long until I can do like 2 plates? How long until I can do this? And then it becomes a performance thing, and they're just chasing
Yeah.
the strength, and their body's changing, but they're not adding like slabs of muscle because that's not their intention. But then it very quickly becomes more about this performance empowerment. I start to feel
Oh,
so
it
much better in my
totally is.
body, and I just feel stronger in day-to-day life, and I feel more confident, and I want to get to the next weight, and I lifted
Mm.
100, I want to do 110 next time, and it just very quickly spirals into that. So I find that the I don't want to lift because I get bulky is a very early thing, but I think that when I actually am able to speak to someone in a one-on-one, it's kind of quashed very quickly, and it doesn't continue to come back up. But I see how it's like a message that keeps getting, coming down from
Yeah.
wherever it comes
Yeah.
down from to um make it harder for people to
It's
get started.
it's so deeply ingrained. It's one of those
Yeah.
messages that is gonna take a long time to peel
Yeah.
back and to, like, just yeah, get out of, get it out of your heads and just, like, do the thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if
I mean, for me
but
with
more
my
women are doing it now, and we're showing that we can do it naturally and that, like, "Look, I we've been training for this long, and, yeah, we have that toned look, but we don't look like dudes." And the more we keep doing that and showing up, I think that we can, help with that narrative.
Yeah. And again,
yeah, with my clients
some
and my
layer of
audience, I'm
go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. I'm just saying with my audience, I'm very make like to my point. I stress it highly like this is where I started in 2020. I show them my before picture and then I show them my today picture. Like this is 6 years. This is an evolution of
Mhm.
6 years. So for you to think that in 6 months you're going to turn into some kind of She-Hulk, that's I mean, I don't know where you really got that narrative from, but it's very untrue because it takes a lot of skill, a lot of practice, and a lot of the right
Time and
environment
commitment.
settings. And then I also tell them too, so hey, here's the beauty, here's the really cool part about this is if you build that muscle and you decide that like that's not really for you, like it's a little too much, all you have to do is turn down that knob and stop working on that particular body part. Don't do that
Yeah,
move anymore. And then now you're
Exactly.
done. Problem
exactly,
rectified. And they're like, what? And
exactly.
I'm like, yes. But then I also tell them too that it's a lot harder to build muscle. Like it's easier to maintain the muscle, but to actually build it, like that's way
Mhm.
hard. And
Yeah,
they're like, oh, okay. So that's how I kind of get them to get on board and bite a little bit. And they're like, okay, let's try it.
yeah.
So, like, how much muscle could one, so just your general average woman lifting 3 days a week actually put on a year? Like, say, for
Under the
example,
right
Daniel,
conditions.
under the,
In like in pounds?
yeah, 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 yeah. Generally speaking,
Oh,
like
okay. Let
three,
me.
So
maybe four,
a
No, no,
quarter
no. More,
pound.
more, more than that.
more.
If you're a beginner, you can definitely gain
Yes.
like, like
Yeah.
probably I don't know, 10 to 15 in a year if you're a beginner and
Seriously.
you're like training like hard with
Yeah.
the intention of doing that. If you
Okay.
have
Okay.
no intention
Yeah.
of like trying to build muscle and just like very general strength training, you're not specifically trying to like
Right.
take things to failure and like never missing a workout and like nailing your protein 365 days a year, like 5 pounds of muscle, like that's
Yeah.
probably
So,
pretty reasonable. And then the
So for the
further
newbie,
for a newbie, yeah, probably more than 5 pounds of muscle in the first year, I would say is like pretty easy and safe. Um, and now 5 pounds of muscle obviously doesn't change a ton on the scale, but it can change the way your body looks like
mhm,
pretty
yeah.
for sure.
significantly, right? It's not
Mm.
you're not going to be this monster, but everything becomes tighter, and you'll lose fat in that
Yeah.
time as well, right? You guys, I got to imagine people listening to this have seen enough before and afters of people who show their before picture and then they show their after picture where their body is like physically smaller, but
Their weight is
The
heavier.
same
Their
weight.
weight is different or the same
yeah.
weight, right? And it's because muscle is denser than fat is. And so you'll occupy less space. Like
Right.
oftentimes, I think where the bulky thing comes up with is people will strength train and eat too much, and so they build a little bit of
Mm.
muscle, but then they also gain a little bit of fat, and so then their body is overall larger. But it's not they don't look bulky because they gain too much muscle. They look bulky because they actually have too much fat on their body. And then once they cut that down, go into a deficit and cut that down, then they'll look muscular and toned and slim and lean, and then they won't feel like that bulkiness anymore.
Mhm.
That's kind of
Okay.
where I see it. I mean, it's different for everyone, obviously, but um, yeah. The other thing I was going to say is from a little bit of critical thinking as well. When people see the posts that you see online that are not from the people that you follow, are for the most part going to be things that are uh, entertaining.
Mm.
Someone who
That's
looks
good.
freaky, and I mean freaky in like a way more muscular than average or doing some crazy physical feat or something like that. Not necessarily a bad freaky, but
Yeah.
someone who's like exceptionally
Out of the
fit or
norm.
strong, out of the norm. Um, that person or that post or that video is going to get attention. Someone who looks like a quote unquote normal fit person, it's just like not that attention grabbing. And so it doesn't hit
Yeah.
the algorithm and get 10 million views. But, that one girl who's like, super jacked and like has gigantic muscles and like, yeah, that's like, whoa, that's like a thing to catch your attention. And so when the
Right.
algorithm feeds you that stuff, because it does, because it feeds on attention, then that bombards our headspace into thinking, oh, girls who lift look like this. But if you walk
Yeah.
into any gym in anywhere in the world and you see ladies in there lifting, you will very quickly realize, oh, most of them do not look like that. There may be one
Mhm.
Mhm.
in your local gym who looks like that, maybe. But the rest of the ladies in there and the guys in there are not these big, bulky, gigantic
No,
monsters. They're pretty
they're just
regular,
like
like
Gen Pop people.
fit looking people who like you can tell that depends on their level and where they're at, obviously, but you can be like, oh, this person lifts and looks healthy. But that is a very different look, and frankly, what most people are going for, rather than, oh, that person is a huge, bulky bodybuilder.
Right.
Most people
Right.
just want to go for that look because it's easier to maintain because that super lean
Yeah.
muscular body is very hard to maintain.
Yeah, and it's healthier, frankly, as well. Like that super lean bodybuilder look. Like bodybuilding is not the sport of who's the most healthy. Bodybuilding is a sport is a sport
Yeah.
of who can
Who can go a
put
little more
the
extreme
most muscle on their body
and
at all costs. Like it's an
yeah.
Yeah.
extremely unhealthy sport, and who can be the leanest as well. it's very unhealthy.
And
And all
I
sports,
think it's
athletes are not about
yeah,
who's the most healthy. It's about who's the best at the sport. And bodybuilding is
exactly.
not the sport of health. It's great and nothing wrong with it, but like we can't look at that as like this is what ideal is. What is ideal is the more regular looking fit person who's wearing a dress or a t-shirt and looks like, oh yeah, that person looks fit and healthy and vibrant. That's what you want to go for.
Yeah, and let's like, bring this all back to aesthetics is great, but let's move away from focusing on the aesthetics because that's going to be a natural byproduct of you just doing the thing and maybe focus on like how you feel and what
Yeah.
all of the other benefits that strength training brings to you and provides your body and like what's happening internally and how you're moving and how you're shifting through life and all of these things because when we can shift that focus to that it is gonna be a lot easier, I feel, to navigate and to stick with and be consistent and do for the rest of your life, right? Because
Yeah.
we're focusing on things outside of
Mhm.
just the aesthetics. So, but with that, Daniel, we've had you here for a while. So, any concluding thoughts before we end our podcast today?
I'll end it on this, just on the last thing that you said there. I think that chasing aesthetics is a good way to get you in the door, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it can't be the only thing. Because circling back to stuff we talked about earlier, you can't control the outcome necessarily, but you can control the inputs. So you can make your next meal
Mm,
really good, your next workout really good, your next whatever really good. And then the result of those good actions will be good aesthetics, feeling good, good strength, blah, blah, blah. So we need to start focusing on what we can do about our situation rather than what is the situation, what is the outcome. And I think if we kind of go towards that mindset with fitness and with everything else, I think that the the world will be a better place. Just focus on what we control.
We'll get more
Worry about
buy-in that way.
yeah, yeah. You worry about the things, but like worry about
mhm,
what you can do to actually impact them. And if we all start by how can I do things better for me and for my family and for the people in my house and the people in my community, and like we start there, that's kind of how we go about changing the world and changing our the health of the world as well. We can sit here and complain about all the society and we work from home, and it's like okay, we're just not gonna we're not gonna change that. So the more internal locus of control we can impart on ourselves, the better off I think our outcomes are going to be.
mhm.
And that's really the like the overall message that I'm always trying to get across is like let's
Yeah.
slow things down, think about things logically, be emotional and pay attention to your emotions and use them, but don't be controlled by them. And then make decisions
Yes.
that are going to get you or push you in or sorry, give you the best chance of getting the outcome that you want. You can't necessarily control the outcome, but you can like stack the odds in your favor. And if you do that, I think you'll be okay.
Well, beautifully summed up and articulated as always, because you're so good at this and your voice. I've always told you this. You have a radio voice.
You do.
I'm
I
gonna like
I don't know where
mark
it came from.
that.
You should have
Um,
remarked
I have
it.
been yeah, shamelessly I have been told that a number of times. So that is yeah, I mean
yeah,
I don't
good. Be
practice it. This
proud
is
of
just
it.
my voice, so I'll take it.
Yeah, take it and take what you
All right, so
can.
Daniel, where can our audience find you? And we'll make sure that we link it in the show, all the show notes.
Yeah, so just my name everywhere, Daniel Yores, Yores is how you spell my last name, but Instagram, Twitter, podcast, all the stuff. Google my name and you'll find it.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
we will vouch for Daniel. He's amazing individual, very genuine, authentic, great personal trainer. You do online coaching
Mhm,
and in-person
mhm.
coaching if you're in the city of Toronto. Yes, are you in
Ah, come
Toronto?
on, Dal.
Where are you?
We don't pronounce the second T.
I
You're
know
Canadian, you should
Toronto,
know this.
Toronto.
Yeah,
I
Toronto.
know.
Yeah,
Wait,
just in
wait, what?
so Toronto,
Yeah, we
Toronto.
don't say
Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah.
We say Toronto.
People from Toronto don't like it's not Toronto, it's just Toronto. I
Yeah,
don't know why
it's
that's a thing,
Toronto.
but it's just a
Toronto.
thing. And I saw
Yeah,
someone say that once online. I was like, oh yeah, no one here pronounces that. But yeah, yeah, just outside of
yeah.
Toronto. So if you're in and around here,
Okay.
hit me up. I train people in person and online. Kind of like half right now. I'm actually really leaning into the more in person stuff. I think we need to go
Yeah.
back to like real connections. Online is amazing, both have pros and cons, but yeah, in and around Toronto, it's home, and yeah, yeah, it was a pleasure to be here, though,
Awesome.
guys. I'm so happy to see that
No,
how far you guys have taken this, and that you kind of like took it and ran with it. So it's really amazing to see to see you guys do this. I'm so happy and proud of
Well,
you
we
guys.
had a lot of help along the way. We didn't really
I
run with
know.
it.
We all
I know.
did.
You
We all
helped
did. We all
us.
did. Anyone who said
Mr. Yores.
anyone who thinks they did anything by themselves is a liar. So we've all helped.
Never. Yeah. We are not meant to do this life alone in any which way
No.
you look at it. So
Yes.
we appreciate you. We're really grateful for your presence in our life. And thank you for taking the time out and sharing all your knowledge with our audience. So with that, until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.